19, one asks 40 people which language they speak at home, and here are the results in this table here. So 18 out of those 40 speak English, 11 speak French, 7 speak Spanish, and 4 speak another language. So we have to complete the table. We have to work out the degrees for these languages here. So they've done English for us, so next up is French. And 11 people speak French at home. Now, the total number of people is 40. So the fraction speaking French at home is 11 out of 40. To turn that fraction into degrees, we have to multiply by a full circle, which is 360 degrees. So if you times the fraction of people speaking French by 360 degrees, it gives you 99. So that is the sector of people speaking French in the pie chart. Now, for Spanish, well, it's very similar. Instead of writing 11 out of 40, we must write 7 out of 40 before we times by 360 again. So you're always multiplying by 360 to turn the fraction into degrees. So this time we've got 63 degrees. And so lastly, for other, the fraction would be 4 out of 40. And again, timesing by 360. So if I change that 7 to a 4, I get 36 degrees. Okay, so I have completed the table. Okay, so that's part 1. Now for part 2, you have to complete a pie chart. Now, I'm not going to do this accurately on the board. You need to take a protractor. Okay, so normally you've got the little semicircle in plastic that measures angles. So you need to take that and you need to finish the pie chart accurately. So you would measure 99 degrees for French. Okay, so that would be just over as a right angle, as a little estimate. Label it as 99 degrees and don't forget to write French as well. Make sure you label your pie chart clearly. For Spanish, you would then need to measure 63 degrees. Okay, so that would be next, and again you would label it as 63 degrees and you would write Spanish. And if you've done it accurately, the last sector should be 36 degrees automatically. You might want to check it. If it's not 36, then you should go back and check you've done your measurements accurately. You might want to change them. Okay, and if it is 36, then you know you're spot on. Okay, so remember, if you have to complete a pie chart, use the protractor and use pencil in case you need to rub it out. Okay, so in part B, it says that Mansour also asked some people which language they speak at home. And in his pie chart, the sector angle for people speaking Portuguese is 108 degrees. Write down the fraction of these people who do not speak Portuguese at home. So, if the sector angle for the people speaking Portuguese is 108 degrees, the sector angle for those not speaking Portuguese should be 360 minus 108. Okay, remember a full circle is always 360. So if I subtract those, I get 252. So that is the number of degrees of people who don't speak Portuguese at home. Remember, it says write down a fraction. Now, we need to put that number of degrees as a fraction. So I'm just going to carry that one up there so you can see a bit more easily. So we've got 252 degrees and we always need to write it out of the total. And the total number of degrees in a circle is 360. Okay, so if you pop that in the calculator, it should simplify it for you. So the final answer is 7/10. Okay, so in question 20A, we have to work out the shaded area in this shape here. So we've got a large rectangle, and then inside we've just got a smaller rectangle. So to work out the area of the shaded part, we must work out the area of the large rectangle and then subtract that smaller one that's inside. To work out the area of a rectangle, you have to do base multiplied by height. So for the large one, we've got the base here, which is 12.8. And then we're multiplying by the height, which is 10.4. Remember, we're subtracting, we're taking that away because that is not in the shaded area. And then we work out the area of that unwanted part, this rectangle here. So base is 9.2 and the height is 6.7. So all you need to do then is pop that calculation into the calculator and you get 71.48. The units for area are centimetres squared, and you don't need to round that answer to 3 significant figures because it's an exact answer, so you can just leave it like that. For part B, we need to work out the surface area of this cuboid. So that's just the area of all the surfaces added together. So if we start by looking at the base of this cuboid here, okay, the one that's on the bottom, is a rectangle. And remember, to work out the area of a rectangle is base times height. So we're doing 8 multiplied by 2. Now, there's actually another rectangle that's identical to that one. The one on top, the one that's opposite, is exactly the same. So we can actually just multiply that calculation by 2, since there are 2 of those rectangles. Now I'm going to add on the sides, those ones there at the end. So to work out this one, it's base times height again, so 2 times 5, and there's another one that's exactly the same over here. So again, we can times that calculation by 2. And then there are 2 more surfaces left. We've got these ones, the ones on the front and the back. So to do this one here, the base is 8 and the height is 5, so 8 times 5. And just like in the other ones, we're going to multiply by 2 because there are 2 of those surfaces that are exactly the same. So we can work this out. Okay, we've got this one here is 32, this is 20, and this one here is 80. So if we add all of those together, we get 132 centimetres squared. Remember, it's surface area, and that's why it's centimetres squared. So all you need to do is work out the area of all the rectangles, all the surfaces, and add them up. Okay, so question 21, the final question in paper 1, and you need your compass for this question. So you need to take that compass, you know, the one with the sharp point, and your ruler. So I'm not going to do this accurately on the board because I don't have a compass to use on the whiteboard, but I will explain to you how you need to do it, and I'll show you roughly what your answer should look like. So for part A, it says construct the bisector of angle DCB. DCB is this angle here. Okay, it's the middle letter C. So we have to bisect angle C. So bisect means cut in half, and to cut the angle in half, you need to put your compass quite small, roughly 2 centimetres, and put the point of your compass on the angle you're bisecting C. Now, moving the compass carefully, so don't move it, do it very carefully. You do a little arc with your pencil on either side of that point, okay, so on both sides of the rectangle. Now make the compass a little bit wider between the compass point and your pencil, just because it's a bit easier, and you're going to place that sharp point over here where that arc crossed your side, and then with your pencil you do a new arc over here inside the rectangle. Then you switch the sharp point over to the other side over here, and then you draw another arc with your pencil. So where they cross over, you can now join up with angle C. Okay, so you take your ruler and you do a nice straight line going through the angle. So that is bisecting the angle, that's cutting the angle in half. So we've done part 1. Now for part 2, it says construct the perpendicular bisector of DC. So DC is a line, and so this time we're cutting the line in half. To do that, you need to make your compass a bit wider from the pencil, okay? You're going to make it just over halfway, roughly, along the length of this line, and you're going to place the sharp point on the end of the line. And then with that sharp point of your compass stuck on D, you do an arc on either side of the line DC. Now you have to switch the sharp point over to the other end of your line, and you do the same thing. You do a mark here and then another mark here. Now with your ruler, you can join up those crossed over arcs, and that line is the perpendicular bisector of DC. It's perpendicular because it's at an angle of 90 degrees, and it's a bisector because it's bisecting, it's cutting the line in half. So we've done the constructions. In part B, we have to shade the region containing the points inside the rectangle that follow these rules here. It says that the region needs to be nearer to D than C. So this line is separating D and C. Hopefully you can see the side that's nearer to D is the left-hand side because D is on the left. Okay, but don't shade yet because we have to finish reading the question. We know we want the left-hand side for the moment. We also need to consider it's nearer to BC than DC. Now, this is talking about the angle bisection we did earlier, here, this line. So if you're looking at this line, the side that's nearer to BC, well, BC is this line, it's on the right. So the side that's nearer to BC is above the line. So you need to have left of this line and above this line, which means the shaded region is that little shape up at the top.